said it before and I'll say it again. I love Herm Edwards at Arizona State. And in 2 years, he has greatly exceeded expectations. And year 3 is setting up to be his best season yet. Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, the best kept secret in all of college football. Today, bringing you our 2020 Arizona State Sun Devils college football predictions. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. And also make sure to check out everything down in the description below for some exclusive content on our website, thegridironexpert.com, and some exclusive content also on our social media pages over on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So Arizona State is coming off a fantastic year 2 under Herm Edwards, a season that saw them pull off upsets against Michigan State, California, Oregon, which ended the Ducks' playoff hopes, and then a Sun Bowl victory over Florida State to conclude 2019 with an 8-5 record. And when you look at them going into 2020, guys, they have a chance to really build on that. And they even have a chance to win the Pac-12 South this season. And a major reason for all of this success is not only Herm Edwards, but now it's because of their quarterback in Jayden Daniels. One of the best quarterbacks in the Pac-12, one of the best young quarterbacks in the entire country this season. He threw for over 2,900 yards, 17 touchdowns, and just 2 interceptions, guys. 2 interceptions as a freshman last year for the Sun Devils, and also added over 300 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns on the year. So Jayden Daniels, he is the undisputed leader for this Sun Devils team, and he will be the reason that they thrive this season, or he will be the reason that they fall short of their lofty expectations. When you look at the rest of their offense outside of Jayden Daniels, we know they lose their star running back in Eno Benjamin. We know they lose their star wide receiver in Brandon Aiyuk. But they do return a wide receiver in Frank Darby, who led the Pac-12 guys in yards per catch and touchdowns per reception last year. So Darby is going to be one of the top targets for Jayden Daniels this year, and one of the top targets in new offensive coordinator Zach Hill's offense, coming over from Boise State to try to improve the Sun Devils team that was only 94th in the country when it came to total offense last year. The talent is there to build on it. The talent is there, and the quarterback is there to be one of the most dangerous offenses in the Pac-12. Can Hill and Herm Edwards capitalize on that? We take a look at their defense, guys. They returned 7 starters, and they are now switching back to a 4-3 base defense here because Herm Edwards made a fantastic hire in bringing in former Cincinnati Bengals head coach Marvin Lewis as co-defensive coordinator. So you've got a guy that has tons of NFL head coaching experience. Same with Herm Edwards, now coming over to lead your defense. And they've got talent on that side of the ball, guys. Leading tackler Darian Butler returns at linebacker. You've got Jermaine Lowell on the defensive line. He had 6.5 sacks last year. And then Chase Lucas and Evan Fields, both are seniors that are going to lead this secondary that was 115th against the pass last year. So that's going to be the kind of area of concern for Arizona State's defense. If they can improve in the secondary, if they can improve against the pass, this can be a top half Pac-12 defense going into 2020. So can Arizona State, in year 3 under Herm Edwards, can they win the Pac-12 South? Can they make the Pac-12 championship game? We're about to find out here. Of course, as we all know, the Pac-12 did cancel all non-conference games, guys. The Big Ten and the Pac-12, as of these filmings, have canceled non-conference games. And we don't know exactly what the Pac-12 is going to do, but it's looking more and more like it may be a 9 to 10 game conference game only season starting in the middle of September. But for the purpose of this video, for the purpose of every other video we have filmed, we will be including the wins and losses from the non-conference games, where, as you can see, we have Arizona State winning all 3 of those. So, of course, you can just take that with a grain of salt and just take the conference record that we give you and know that will be the official record for the Sun Devils. But we will be including those 3 wins at the end of this video. So having said all of that, 3-0 start should take easy care of Northern Arizona, UNLV, and should get by BYU. It's a game that I was never too worried about going up against a solid Cougar squad. So Herm Edwards and the Sun Devils start 3-0. Keep in mind they started 5-1 last year before losing 4 straight games and then winning their final 3. 3-0 here before taking on USC. And last year's matchup against the Trojans, guys, started off horribly for the Sun Devils, and then they fell just short. They found themselves down 28-7 after the first quarter, but only lost 31-26. And they did all of that without Jayden Daniels, who did not play in that game. You look at USC, though, guys, this game is at the Coliseum, and they are continuing to improve in a year that is so big for Clay Helton, because he is on the hot seat, guys, and if he fails early, he could be out before season's end. But they have the 6th ranked passing offense in the country, coming back with one of the best quarterbacks in the Pac-12 this year in Kedon Slovis. Graham Harrell is still leading the offense. The defense is now led by Todd Orlando with 10 returning starters on that side of the ball. You know, people like to say that maybe Arizona State comes in here and pulls off the win because Daniels will actually play in this one. And while I do think he gives the Trojans defense some issues early on, I think USC's passing offense is going to be ultimately too much for this Arizona State secondary, and USC wins the game. So, Arizona State falls. They're now 3-1. But I think they bounce back with not easy wins, but comfortable wins over Oregon State and UCLA. Now, I know people will say, well, how can these be comfortable here? Because Arizona State lost both of these games last year. They lost to both Oregon State and UCLA in 2019. And we'll start with the Beavers here, guys. Arizona State lost to them 35-34 with their 2-point conversion with 1:40 left failing. They went for 2. Herm Edwards got a little gutsy, and it didn't pay off for them. Oregon State's defense is one of the teams in the Pac-12, and the defense is that I think is going to have to carry them this season. They're improving in their 3rd year under Jonathan Smith, his alma mater. They're improving so much that they might be able to make a bowl game this year. But can the offensive struggles bail them out? Can the offensive struggles kind of go along with that defense and give Oregon State a win here on the road? Because we know they lose their star quarterback in Jake Luton. We know they have Jamar Jefferson coming back. But can Jamar Jefferson win this game solely by himself against the 26th best rushing defense in the country from last year? I don't think they can. I think Arizona State's hungry for a little bit of revenge after that heartbreaking loss last year. They take care of Oregon State at home, and I think they take easy care of UCLA at home after falling to the Bruins 42-32 in 2019. That win last year was kind of shocking by many, that the Bruins were able to win that game by double digits. They were able to put up that many points against the Sun Devils, but that was in the midst of UCLA's weird 3-game Pac-12 winning streak. Keep in mind, the Bruins went 4-8 last year. While all 4 wins came in conference play, they've won just 7 games total in 2 years under Chip Kelly. He's a guy in the Pac-12 that's greatly not exceeding expectations. He is failing to meet expectations out in Los Angeles. And I look at this, guys, while UCLA could have a solid offense led by dual-threat QB Dorian Thompson-Robinson, their defense will ultimately be their downfall. A defense that was way worse than Arizona State's last year. I think they coast a victory over the Bruins at home. A little bit of revenge on their mind as well. And just like that, if you count the non-conference games, we've got Arizona State sitting at 5-1. 5-1, guys. Remember, that's exactly how they started the season last year. They were 5-1. Then they lost 4 straight games. And if you look at their next 4 games, 3 of them come on the road. None of them are easy. It's very possible they could lose the majority of these games. We start with the road game at Colorado, guys, and luckily we have Arizona State winning this one. We will give the Sun Devils a victory over the Buffaloes. A major reason for that is, sure, they're coming off a bye week. But again, this is another weird game where Arizona State lost to the Buffaloes last year, 34-31. So they lost to Oregon State. They lost to UCLA. They lost to Colorado. None of those 3 teams went bowling last year, guys. So just imagine. Imagine if Arizona State had been able to win at least 2 of those, if not all 3. How different of a season it could have been for Herm Edwards. But they bounce back against Colorado on the road. They're rested up, and Colorado's a team that I think is in for a very, very rough year. You lose Mel Tucker. You lose your quarterback in Steven Montez. You lose your star wide receiver in Laviska Shenault. Carl Durrell and his staff have had no time at all to really see what talent they have and to implement their new schemes. This is just going to be a year for Colorado to go out there, play some football, kind of know what the expectations of the coaches are, kind of see what you're working with, and then in 2021, Colorado can really try to take a step forward and get to the postseason. It's going to be a rough year out in Boulder. There's no way Arizona State loses this game, despite losing at home to the Buffaloes last year. So riding high here, guys, they're 6-1, top 15 without a doubt. They drop a game to Washington State. And that might come as a surprise to some as well. How do they lose to Washington State? Well, when you look, guys, they really haven't pulled off any signature victories by this point. The first half of the schedule is relatively easy for Arizona State. Outside of the USC game, there really isn't a tough test. The tougher tests come in the month of November when they take on California, Oregon, and Utah. So they drop a game here to Washington State, a team they beat last year. They beat them 38-34 on a game-winning touchdown from Jayden Daniels with just 34 seconds left. It's an absolutely thrilling game out in the desert. But I look at this Washington State team, guys. They are another team within the Pac-12 dealing with a brand new head coach. You got Nick Rolovich coming in to run that run-and-shoot offense that worked so well over at Hawaii. So no longer will you see an air raid offense like Mike Leach ran. You'll see a run-and-shoot, most likely led by the freshman quarterback in Jayden Daniels, who to me could be this year's Jayden Daniels. It really could be, because Delora ran that run-and-shoot offense in high school during his time in Hawaii, and I think he's going to be the best guy to fit Rolovich's system. So I think the offense actually does relatively well this year. Goes through a few early growing pains, continues to get better throughout the week, and you look at their defense, they also returned 7, and I think their defense actually plays a little bit better than we ever really saw under Mike Leach. That was never his forte. It was beat you through the air constantly, but you know you can't win championships and you can't win too many games when you don't have a defense. So I think Nick Rolovich gives himself a signature victory at home in Pullman. Not an easy place to play. The Sun Devils dropped this one, but bounce back with a win against California. They bounce back with a win against California. And I will tell you what, if there are two teams in the Pac-12 that I really, really love outside of the top dogs, it's California and Arizona State. Those are the two teams that I think could be the second best teams in their divisions, and I am so pumped to watch them hit the field this year. So this is a game that I certainly have circled on my calendar. Arizona State went into California last year, went into Berkeley last year, and won 24-17. Handing California their first loss of the season after a 4-0 start. The thing was, they knocked out Chase Garbers in that game. So Devin Monster had to take over, and once he got in, the Golden Bears were set up for failure. If Chase Garbers is in for this game, if he is healthy, a guy that's 13-2 as a starter for the Golden Bears, a guy who last year was 7-0 when he played at least a half for California, California will win this game. But the game is at home for Arizona State. I think that secondary for California takes a little bit of a step back. Which opens the door for Darby and Daniels to connect on a few big plays. Last year the game was decided by 7. I think that's exactly the case again this year, but it still results in a win for the Sun Devils. We have them dropping the road game at Oregon, a Friday night game here, guys, and this is a major revenge game, one of the biggest revenge games of the year, and Arizona State's very unlucky to have to travel to Autzen Stadium in Eugene to take on one of the best defenses in the country. I don't think the Sun Devils get blown out in this one, but I don't think it's necessarily pretty. Remember, the Sun Devils beat Oregon down in the desert right around this time last year, which kicked Oregon out of the college football playoff race. Oregon wins that, and then they win the Pac-12 championship, it's the Ducks that make the playoff. Maybe not Oklahoma. But nonetheless, the Ducks do get major revenge over Herm Edwards and his squad after one of the biggest upsets we saw in all of 2019. And then we have Arizona State here rounding out the season with wins against Utah and Arizona. I think the Utah game might come as the biggest surprise for some. Arizona State lost to Utah 21-3 last year in what was a top 20 showdown, a top 20 matchup between the Utes and the Sun Devils, because Arizona State at the time was 5-1. That was the beginning of their 4-game losing streak after that 18-point loss to the Utes. But you look at Utah this year, guys. They lose Tyler Huntley. They lose Zach Moss. They lose 3 of their top 5 wide receivers. Their defense was second in the country nationally. Second in the country in total defense. And they only returned 2 starters, guys. So, yeah, they've got Kyle Whittingham on their side. Yes, I don't think Utah's going to just completely fall apart. But the game is at Arizona State. Once again, a little revenge on their mind. I think they on the offensive edge. Utah may on the slight defensive edge, but it's not going to be by much. Arizona State wins this game, and they win their game over their in-state rival in Arizona, a team they've won 3 straight against. Let's make it 4. They beat the Wildcats by 10 last year, and I think this is Kevin Sumlin's last year down in Tucson. So the game's on the road. It's a big game for Arizona and Kevin Sumlin because if he's not going to go bowling, the least you could do is beat your rival. But I don't even think he's able to do that. The Wildcats dropped their 4th straight to the Sun Devils here in a game that will be over by the end of the 3rd quarter. Sun Devils might be able to coast a little bit in the 4th. Daniels can take a break to get prepped for the postseason because the Sun Devils are going bowling yet again under Herm Edwards. We've got them going 9-3, guys. 9-3 for the Arizona State Sun Devils, the best season yet under Herm Edwards in year 3. Again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I loved this hire. As soon as I heard that Herm Edwards was coming to Arizona State, I was thrilled. And I knew that he was going to turn this program around and make them contenders in the Pac-12 perennially, consistently. He's done that since day 1. Year 3 is his best year yet. And here's the thing. Jayden Daniels is going to be around again next year. They've got a very talented freshman class that's coming in this year. They might play a little bit this year. They might get some solid playing experience this year, which means next year they're going to be even better. So while I do think the Sun Devils fall just short of the Pac-12 South title in 2020, you better watch out for them in 2021. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. And also make sure to check out everything down in the description below, where you can follow us on our social media pages over on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also visit our brand new website, thegridironexpert.com, for some exclusive content I can promise you will not find anywhere else. And once again, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.